Today I'm going to walk you through some of the information and data that's on the results page after you set up your search and get your results. So there's a lot of data here, and it can be interpreted a lot of different ways depending on what type of hunt you're looking for. So I'm going to walk you through a couple examples and give you some of my thoughts on how I look at and interpret this data. So all of this data is from the 2023 drawing, so from last year. So these are the actual results that would have happened. I have 4 points for Wyoming antelope. That's what I'm looking at right now. And so these would have been my draw odds that actually happened last year when I applied. And so you can use this as a data point here when you see the draw odds in the left side of the results page to know last year I would have had 100% draw with 4 points. And so as I'm going into this year's draw, you can help that interpret where you might want to find units that will help you apply. So you'll see I also had some odds here that are 66% draw all the way down to 1% draw. There's some really hard units in Wyoming to draw. So in general, the first thing you think about with draw odds is 100%, I'm going to draw it potentially. That might mean they give out more tags. There might be less public land access. You want to be sure to go double check the map, which we'll show you in future videos how to do, to make sure there's actually public land you can access. And also trophy size sometimes goes into that. So if there's a unit that has really good trophy, there might be a lot of demand that people know about, and then your draw odds naturally will go down from there. So those are kind of some of the starting points for understanding draw odds. Also on the page, you will see the results tabs for each unit. You'll see the dates. So you'll see some of these units for rifle are open September 30th. Some open August 14th. I'm seeing October 4th. So don't just assume that all the seasons in Wyoming open the same date. Some of them overlap with other elk and deer hunts. And so it's important to kind of understand what those dates are, especially when you have a schedule, when you want to go, when you want to take time off from work. So do you want to go August 14th? It's going to be hot, drier. They might be focused on water. Or do you want to go September 30th? That's going to be post-rut. There might be some archery already done. And so just stuff to take into consideration. Those season dates were from last year as well. So once again, be sure to go in and check the regulations for the current year to make sure those season dates, some species, they're identical every year, September 1st, September 15th. Some of them change to be an opening day, a Saturday, for example. So you just want to make sure you check those dates as well. So going in here a little further, you'll see the tags given. So that was the quota for last year. So, 100 tags given, 200 tags given, 300 tags given. And that can change year to year as well. So you might want to go in and look at the regulations, like I mentioned, and make sure that your quotas haven't changed. Winter kill, drought, the biologists can change those right before the application season based on what happened the previous winter. So, but last year, this is what the quota was. This is how many tags were given, and this is what your draw odds were, this amount of points. You'll also see the harvest rates here for species where it's applicable and states that have that information. So antelopes usually has a pretty high harvest rate, above 50%, nearing 100%. Other species might have a 10% success rate, 20% success rate, elk archery hunts, for example. And so it's important to look at that harvest rate and kind of balance that with your application strategy as well. You'll also see here a cool data point that we get from the onX database, actually from our maps, is the total square miles of that hunting unit. So some units are really big, some are really small. And then also you'll see next to that the square miles of public land. And so that gives you an idea of how much public land is in that unit. Some of these have a lot of public land, some are a little bit less. And so that also comes key when we start looking at the map once we've narrowed our unit down to what units we want to apply for. And then we've also done a little calculation here. You'll see a box for hunters per square mile. That's kind of a density factor, or how many hunters are in the field. And so based on the tags given and how much square miles there are in a unit, we can calculate how many hunters are going to be there per square mile. So you might have really low hunters per square mile or really high, and so that's Depending on the public land as well, that might give you an idea of how many hunters you might see in the field as well. So important data points here to think about, and you're looking at these a lot of different ways for different hunters. So for me, I'm looking for, you know, a lot of public land hunter, but that public land also has to be accessible. So we'll touch on that in the map video as well. Make sure you know the dates that you're going, and you can go ahead and just scroll through here and see a lot of units. Some of these units have 90 tags, some have 150, some have 600, and so really gives you a good idea of kind of how they're managing that unit, what the populations are. Usually they're giving out, they want the same percentage of males harvested in the unit, right? So whatever, that's 10% of males they want harvested. And so if they're only giving out 90 tags, that might mean there's a lower population there. And so there's going to be lower population, less maybe bucks to look through, but you might have a chance to shoot a bigger one because some have lasted longer. Where they're giving out 600 tags, there's probably a bunch of antelope, easier to draw, and you know, the age class might be a little lower just because so many are getting harvested each year. And that's the data that is currently on our results page. The next step would be to then jump into selecting some of these units and looking at the map to further refine your information.